Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you may be tuning in from. I'm your host, the ever-curious and only slightly mischievous Nicole Yamada, reporting for the Nyanya News Network. We've got positively fun and fascinating stories from across space and cyberspace today, so get your tails comfy. This broadcast is going to be perfectly informative. From cosmic soup simmering on Saturn's moons to video game battlefields booming with hype, from tiny SSDs you can flick like a SIM card to brain-computer gizmos that literally read your mind, we have so much to explore. Our invisible producer keeps trying to sneak a catnap into the schedule, but I'm here to make sure the news stays adorable and on time. Let's start with a bite of tech history and an apple that just grew a whole new branch. Our first story takes us back to the orchard where tablets grow on trees. When Steve Jobs first unveiled the iPad in 2010, he envisioned it as a comfy third category. Not a phone, not a laptop, but something in between. He said it had to be better at browsing the web, doing email, watching videos, listening to music, playing games, reading ebooks, and showing photos. It was a lean-back device you could enjoy while lounging in a chair. Fast forward 15 years, and Apple has just shipped iPadOS 26, and it finally turned the iPad into something Jobs swore it would never be. A full-blown, multitasking, window-wrangling menu bar sporting computer. Yes, the new iPadOS lets windows overlap, your cursor is pointy, and there's even a menu bar. It's basically macOS in cosplay. But deep in settings lurks a full-screen apps mode that turns off multitasking entirely. That means the iPad now lives two lives, the consumption slate Steve Jobs imagined and the windowed productivity machine power users begged for. It's like an apple spork, a spoon and fork in one. I can't decide whether to eat soup or salad with it, but I know I'll still drop crumbs on my lap. Personally, I like that the iPad can be a comfy couch device and a mini-Mac. But somewhere out there, Jobs is probably shaking his fist at the menu bar. Next, we're jumping from apple orchards to Saturn's moon Titan. Because who doesn't love a frosty cosmic cocktail? NASA scientists have proposed that Titan's hydrocarbon lakes might create tiny soap bubble-like vesicles. Titan is the only place besides Earth with stable liquid on its surface. But instead of water, its lakes are filled with ethane and methane. Using molecules called amphiphiles, which have a hydrophobic tail and hydrophilic head, researchers think splashing methane rain could coat droplets and form double-layered membranes. These membranes would enclose droplets, producing vesicles that could evolve into protocells. Titan's atmosphere is mostly nitrogen with a good helping of methane, and its dynamic weather cycles create rivers, lakes, and even seas. Sunlight breaks apart methane molecules, allowing fragments to recombine into complex organic compounds. According to NASA's Connor Nixon, finding vesicles on Titan would show an increase in order and complexity, conditions necessary for the origin of life. It's like Titan is making cosmic boba tea, with little tapioca protocells floating in a giant hydrocarbon drink. NASA's upcoming Dragonfly rotorcraft will explore Titan, taking atmospheric and geophysical measurements. Unfortunately, Dragonfly won't have the light-scattering instrument needed to detect these vesicles. So for now, we can only imagine Titan's lakes quietly crafting the building blocks of life under a golden haze. A sci-fi soup of possibilities. Maybe one day there will be tiny Titan cats paddling around. Gamers assemble! Battlefield 6 is in its second beta and already making news. According to Alinea Analytics, the shooter racked up more than 400,000 concurrent players on Steam during its early beta and had around 605,000 pre-orders by August 12th. Analyst Reese Elliott thinks it could pass 1 million pre-sales. That's an armory full of hype. Battlefield 6 promises massive maps, a return to core classes, and explosive environmental destruction. EA has an internal goal of reaching 100 million lifetime players. Elliott, however, says those numbers are completely unrealistic. The series doesn't have the mass appeal of Fortnite or Call of Duty. Former Blizzard head Mike Ibarra claimed Battlefield will stomp Call of Duty this year, but Elliott isn't convinced. Call of Duty remains a cultural juggernaut with a massive casual audience. People complain about it, and then they buy it again. Sounds like me with cat treats. Battlefield 6 is sticking to a $70 price point, which analysts say is the sweet spot for maximizing pre-orders. Raising the price to $80 might have scared players away. With Borderlands 4 and other shooters on the horizon, the next 2 months will show whether this hype translates into the biggest Battlefield ever. I'm not sure I'm brave enough for battle, but I do like the idea of riding a tank into a virtual sunset. Prepare for some telepathic technobabble. Stanford University researchers working under the BrainGate Consortium have developed a brain-computer interface, BCI, that translates imagined words directly into synthesized speech. It's the first time scientists have decoded inner speech. The words you think but don't speak. 4 volunteers with severe paralysis, including a man who can only communicate by moving his eyes, received microscopic electrode arrays implanted in their speech motor cortex. The electrodes recorded neural activity as participants tried to speak aloud and as they silently imagined specific words. Machine learning models decoded distinct patterns linked to phonemes, the smallest units of speech, and recombined them into words in real time. Imagine speech produced weaker signals but still allowed decoding accuracy of up to 74%. Study lead author Aaron Kuntz said, "This is the first glimpse of what brain activity looks like when you just think about speaking. For people with profound speech and motor impairments, BCIs that understand inner speech could make communication easier and more natural." There are, however, privacy quirks. Sometimes the system detected words participants weren't asked to think about, like counting numbers during a visual task. To address this, researchers created a mental lock. The decoder only activates when the user imagines a password. The phrase, "chitty chitty bang bang," blocked unintended decoding 98% of the time. It's nice to know that even in the future, whimsical movie titles protect your inner monologue. Calling all VTuber fans, Hololive, one of the world's biggest VTuber agencies, has launched a new virtual space called Holoearth. If you've ever typed away in Twitch chat wishing you could be there in person, this is your ticket to a virtual idol party. CTO Ryota Aomi calls Holoearth the next extension of the Hololive experience. It's basically an official VR chat for fans, where you and your favorite anime girl streamers can hang out using 3D avatars. Streams are still broadcast on YouTube and Twitch, but inside Holoearth, the experience is more than anonymous chat. Fans design their own clothing and sell it in-game, collaborating with VTubers. Both fans and creators earn royalties. Holoearth splits people into instanced rooms, so you only see about 50 avatars at a time. The VTubers who have tried it boast over 1 million subscribers, and rooms fill up quickly. Aomi calls this a new ecosystem that isn't tied to streaming platform donations. You can download Holoearth right now, though it might be lonely until your favorite idol schedules a virtual appearance. Aomi says the goal is to keep updating it and to let users step inside whenever they want. Imagine singing karaoke with your Oshi while your avatar's tail wags in perfect rhythm! Though if Kojima can slip a Hololive cameo into Death Stranding 2, maybe Sam Porter Bridges will show up in Holoearth next. Ready for some itty-bitty tech? Chinese storage company Bwin has unveiled a mini SSD, also known as the 1517. That's smaller than a US penny at just 15mm by 17mm and 1.4mm thick. Despite its size, this little drive delivers sequential read speeds of up to 3,700 megabytes per second and write speeds of 3,400 megabytes per second, with capacities of 512 gigabytes, 1 terabyte, or 2 terabytes. It's like having a whole cat tree worth of scratch posts inside a playing card. Micro SD cards are tiny but slow, while M.2 sticks are fast but bigger. Mini SSD aims to be the best of both worlds. For context, micro SD Express cards top out at 985 megabytes per second, and even full-size SD Express cards can't beat the mini SSD while remaining this small. In fact, The Verge made a comparison chart showing the sizes and theoretical speeds of various storage cards. The mini SSD's 3,700 megabytes per second beats micro SD by a lot, though M.2 2,230 drives can still reach about 8,000 megabytes per second. The mini drive slots into a dedicated tray just like a smartphone SIM, and Bwin boasts IP68 water and dust resistance plus 3-meter drop durability. 2 new Chinese gaming handhelds, the GPD Win 5 and One X Player Super X, already plan to support the tiny SSD. There are no pricing details yet, but I'm imagining a future where we swap out storage modules like memory cards. Maybe I'll finally be able to carry all my cat photos without lugging around a hard drive bigger than my head. Hold on to your whiskers, because this next story is truly out of this world. Engineers have designed a conceptual spacecraft called Chrysalis that could carry up to 2,400 people on a one-way trip to Alpha Centauri. The journey would cover roughly 25 trillion miles and take about 400 years. That's longer than every cat nap I've ever taken combined. The spacecraft would measure 36 miles, or 58 kilometers long, and feature artificial gravity created by constant rotation. Chrysalis would house several generations of travelers with tropical forests, farms, communal spaces, homes, libraries, manufacturing facilities, and nuclear fusion reactors. It's built like a Russian nesting doll. Layers of habitats surround a central core that holds shuttles and communication equipment. Before boarding, initial inhabitants would live in Antarctica for 70 to 80 years to adapt to isolation. Births would be planned to maintain a population of around 1,500 people. The designers even envision robots running the outer warehouse level to reduce physical labor, and an AI to help govern the ship, ensuring knowledge transfer across generations. The project, which won first place in the Project Hyperion design competition, is purely hypothetical, since technologies like commercial nuclear fusion reactors don't yet exist. Still, it's fascinating to imagine a vessel containing gardens, schools, and entire micro-societies drifting for centuries through space. Talk about a really long road trip. Do you think they'd let me bring my scratching post? Our final story is about quantum magic, the kind of science that makes my whiskers tingle. In October 2024, researchers established the first intercontinental quantum satellite communication link between China and South Africa, spanning 12,900 kilometers. The previous record was 7,600 kilometers in the Northern Hemisphere, so this new link nearly doubled the distance. Quantum communication relies on quantum key distribution, where the sender and receiver share a secure key encoded in single photons. If someone tries to intercept the photons, they get disturbed, and the intrusion is detected. This makes the messages ultra-secure because it's impossible to perfectly clone an unknown quantum state. The experiment used a microsatellite named Jinan-1 in low Earth orbit and a portable optical ground station equipped with a telescope and special detectors. During a single pass, the team exchanged a key consisting of 1.07 million bits, the longest and most secure quantum satellite link achieved so far. This was also the first quantum link in the Southern Hemisphere and the first secure connection between Northern and Southern Hemispheres. Quantum communication draws its security from the laws of physics, unlike traditional encryption based on hard math problems. Researchers say satellite-based quantum links are vital for building a global quantum internet. The success of Jinan-1 hints at a future of networks of quantum microsatellites, enabling secure communications for governments, the military, finance, and maybe one day, cat-to-cat telepathy. Before we curl up and say goodbye, a huge tail-twitching thank you to all our wonderful supporters on Patreon. Your generosity keeps our whiskers twitching and our cameras rolling. If you enjoyed today's episode, consider subscribing, giving us a paws up, ring the bell, or even joining the Nyunyan crew on Patreon. The world is a silly, sparkly place full of tiny SSDs, cosmic protocells, mind-reading helmets, and multi-generational starships. Stay curious, stay cozy, and if you're ever bored, just remember, somewhere out there, a quantum photon is zooming between continents carrying secret messages. Bye-bye, nya!